Welcome back. I'm Elaine Reyes. Cuba is well known for having one of the most efficient and free universal healthcare systems in the world. People from across Europe, Canada, and the Americas visit the Caribbean country as health tourists. In fact, until his death, former Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez traveled to Cuba for multiple cancer treatments and surgeries. For many years now, its healthcare system has included a strong element of traditional Chinese medicine. But as our senior Latin America correspondent in Havana, Michael Voss reports, this time-honored custom, which is now standard practice in the country, was at the beginning a necessary alternative.
76-year-old Orlando Leal damaged his knees after a fall at home. His treatment consists of acupuncture, along with another form of traditional Chinese medicine, moxa rolls. Here, heat is applied to the acupuncture needles to help stimulate the blood flow. It's good, he told me. My condition has improved a lot. Orlando Leal is receiving his treatment at the main provincial hospital in Matanzas. Almost every major hospital in the country has its own outpatient clinic offering natural and traditional medicine. It's especially popular for the treatment of physical injuries and pain. Cuba turned to traditional Chinese medicine out of necessity during the economic crisis following the collapse of the Soviet Union, but now it's an integral part of the island's health service. Dr. Vivian Sanchez is head of the Traditional Medicine Department in Matanzas. She graduated in general medicine, then decided to specialize in Chinese techniques.
Quizás en un inicio fue una cuestión de necesidad. Yo siempre he dicho que hablar de necesidad ya en estos momentos es quitarle las bondades a esta medicina, porque realmente, aparte de ser una medicina económica, los beneficios son incalculables.
Starting in the 1990s, a number of Chinese and Korean teachers came to Cuba. More recently, a few Cubans, including Dr. Sanchez, were sent to China to study for a year. So what do other doctors in the hospital think of what her department is doing?
Cuando los propios médicos vienen a ser nuestros pacientes, ya usted puede estar seguro que la aceptaron. Ya, esa es la mayor muestra. Cuando un clínico que está adaptado al último antibiótico que salió de última generación viene y se hace acupuntura, usted puede darse cuenta de que realmente están aceptando ya esta medicina, ya se ha integrado.
I am here because I have 2 hernias in my lower back and that caused me a lot of pain.
No. Don't wait for the pain. No esperes el dolor.
Chantal Eltenberg is one of those doctors using the service. She came here from Suriname to study medicine and is now a trainee radiologist. Dr. Eltenberg is being treated with shiatsu, a Japanese healing art using pressure points and stretches.
Right now? Yeah.
At first, I didn't believe much in it as a doctor, as a medical student. But now I am convinced it is an actual therapy. And I think a lot of countries should actually look into this. For real. You'll use less tablets. I think it's also, the alternative medicine is also cheaper. And it helped me. Look, I can stand.
In the nearby rehabilitation center in Matanzas, all of the doctors, nurses, technicians and physiotherapists are trained in Chinese as well as traditional Western medicine. Here, Dr. Mercedes Rabina is using a technique known as cupping. So what are you treating this patient for?
Dolor lumbar.
Lower back pain. And how does it work? ¿Cómo funciona?
Se hace un vacío, como usted puede apreciar con la candela, y entonces se produce ahí, mejora la circulación sanguínea, elimina viento y, por supuesto, se produce una influencia ahí sobre los músculos y alivia el dolor.
Traditional medicine is now part of the curriculum in all of the island's medical schools. In many countries, anyone with the proper training in alternative disciplines, such as acupuncture or shiatsu, can treat members of the public. But according to Dr. Johan Perdomo, in Cuba, you must first become qualified in mainstream Western medicine. Dr. Perdomo also spent a year in China studying traditional medicine in Zhejiang province. He returned to Cuba a firm believer that both traditions can complement each other.
You can combine Western medicine and traditional medicine, and with this combination, if you integrate it, you can get the best results because both medicines have good things to show.
Some critics say that you've turned to traditional Chinese medicine for cost reasons. It's much cheaper than Western medicine.
No, we don't think too much about that. We know it's cheaper than Western medicine, and people realize the potential of traditional Chinese medicine. I think that's why people, they don't think about science. They think about their pain, about their illness, and they get results, so they come back again. And that's why it's so popular now.
Cuba also produces traditional herbal medicines and homeopathic remedies. Some of it is based on Chinese formulas, but the country also has a long history of its own when it comes to using local plants for medicinal purposes. It's a tradition which can be traced back to the African slaves. This batch is an oregano syrup taken for coughs and asthma. Preventative medicine is another key aspect of the Cuban health system. For the young, there are the mainstream Western-produced drugs, such as vaccinations against polio and other preventable diseases. For the elderly, many Cuban doctors prescribe exercise, especially Tai Chi.
We really would like to promote this practice of Qigong and Tai Chi in our population because, you know, elder people get a lot of benefits from practicing it. And doctors now, they recommend this practice like a way to preserve health, not only to treat sick people, but to preserve health.
With no drugs and little specialist equipment required, traditional Chinese medicine is generally more cost-efficient than its mainstream Western counterpart. But the Cubans insist that its use has become so widespread in recent years, not because it's cheap, but because they believe it works.
Our thanks to Michael Voss for that report. That brings us to the conclusion of our broadcast this week. You can find us on the web at cctv-america.com, and you could also find us on Facebook at cctvamerica.com. Please join us again next week for another edition of America's Now. See you then.